For Shaw TV Thompson, I'm Bruce Krentz, along with Dennita Cameron. We're doing a special feature today on International Women's Day. International Women's Day is today, March the 8th. It's been going on since 1922. I wasn't aware of that. I didn't realize it had been going on quite that long. And really, it's something that we've needed for an awful long time. It's just starting to gain some attention right now. Part of the big push on International Women's Day right now is something that's called hashtag Press for Progress, and really what it is trying to get more media going around International Women's Day and around international rights for women, equality, and things like that. And with the hashtag Me Too movement taking over social media and kind of taking over the world, that's that tagline that they're using this year. Really what it is raising awareness for equal pay and gender equality and equality in sport. And Dennita, you're an athlete. I think it's fair to say you're an athlete. Would you say so?
Yeah.
Pretty much. And can you tell us a little bit about some of your sporting endeavors up till now?
They've been pretty good, but like seeing professional athletes like women, they don't get paid as much even though they are like really good compared to the men where they get paid way more and are treated differently and better leagues for male but not as much female.
Yeah, there's for sure that's happening in the world right now. And does that sort of feel important to you? I know that you're an elite athlete. You were just telling me that you just came back from a big track meet down in the States. Tell us a little bit about that and some of your track and field experience.
It was a good meet. I thought it was really cool because there were athletes from all over the world, like New Zealand and Australia, and there were only a few Canadians that got selected to go, so that was a cool opportunity. And overall, I think the sporting is really good for track for women's.
Starting to really raise the profile. I know from having known you for a little while, you're also a volleyball player. Are there some other sports that you play? I think track's your big one right now. That's kind of what you focus on. But are there some other sports in your past as well?
Volleyball and soccer. We have gone to provincials for both for our high school team, and then I have gone to North American Indigenous Games for volleyball to represent Team Manitoba, and we ended up placing third overall for the U16 girls.
And I know North American Indigenous Games was big for you in terms of, I think, meeting some other people, especially a number of Indigenous athletes. And I know that your game got a lot better, too, because that was a pretty high level of volleyball that you played. Can you tell us just a little bit about the North American Indigenous Games and how did that feel, or what did you take away from those games?
I thought it was a great experience overall, seeing other Aboriginal athletes in the sports system and the traditional part, like showing all the cultural events and seeing other like cultures from Canada and the States.
And just, I'm guessing seeing Indigenous people from a whole bunch of different parts of Canada because, I mean, you grew up here in Thompson and now you've had a chance to move around a lot. And so did you feel a connection to the people from all over Canada and the States, even though, I mean, you guys live an awful long ways away?
Yeah, I felt pretty connected to most of them because they also knew like the struggles that you go through being Indigenous and especially an athlete in the sporting events.
And did you feel like that gave you some more confidence in sports and in life? Did it sort of teach you some of those kind of lessons?
Yeah, I feel more confident now, like competing as an Aboriginal athlete and representing Aboriginal people in sports.
And I mean, I would feel like we see a lot of parallels between being a woman and being Aboriginal in terms of oftentimes you're up against a tougher hill to climb than a lot of people. There's some inequalities and there's some things like that. Have you seen that in your life? Do you think, in a sense, you're a little bit double whammied being an Indigenous and a woman?
Yeah, I do believe so, because often going into the event, you were thought of as not equal. You were thought of as a minority and you aren't as good, but you often have to prove your point to them that you're here just like them, just to do good.
And yeah, and a couple hard volleyball smashes will teach people a lesson as well. So you sort of touched on it, but has sport, not just now the North American Indigenous Games, but some of the track things that you've done, has that taught you some lessons for life that have helped you to overcome sort of some of the things with being a woman and with being Indigenous?
Yeah, it taught me to be independent because there's not as much Indigenous athletes that make it to that high level, especially for track and field, since not most of us are exposed to that sport particularly. So I thought it improved like my game and being independent.
Wow, and I know you've done a lot of it and you've had some really incredible success, and I'm sure that you're going to have some more. What does international, we touched on it a bit at the start, but what does International Women's Day mean to you?
I mean, like representing women and young girls and showing how far we've come since back in the day, I'd say.
I couldn't agree more, and I really feel like we're starting to, I'm not going to say get over the hump, because I think there's just still so much work to be done for getting to what you're talking about, equal pay and equal respect, and the two sports being side by side, things like that. I saw a thing on the website, the International Women's Day website, that said we're still 200 years away from equality, so we've got a little ways to go, but we're starting to make some moves, and I hope that we get there a lot sooner than 200 years. What does the future hold for you? What are some of your short-term goals, and what's your life goal?
For short-term goals, I was hoping to place at higher events like nationals. Last year, I finished 4th overall, and I was hoping to make a place on the podium this year in the summer. I think nationals are being held in Brandon this year, so
Nice.
I've been on that track, so it'd be good to have a home advantage on that. And for long-term goals, probably just to finish school and then like go off to university, hopefully get a track scholarship somewhere nice where it's warm. And
Wait, you grew up in Thompson. You're supposed to love the cold, not so much?
it's kind of hard because like it's a summer sport that I'm particularly good at, so it'd be fun to go down to like maybe the southern states where it's hot and I could practice.
For sure. And one last, this one's a little bit philosophical, so and I know my son Murphy's the same age as you are, and like the most philosophical thing that happens with him is he's worried that we don't have chocolate milk in the fridge. So so I know this is hard to maybe answer, but just where do you think by the time you're the same age as me and the same age as cameraman Paul, what's our world going to look like? So what does International Women's Day and what does women's rights look like to you in the distant future?
I hope that we are treated equally when it comes to sports and pay, and less harassment against women, and then, yeah, basically stuff like that.
Perfect. Hashtag Press for Progress. That's what we're using. Dennita, Cameron, thanks for joining me and talking a little bit about International Women's Day. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.